I bet my life on it. No pressure. Uh, and yeah, I think it'll be good service. So if there's someone you haven't said hello to yet, please take that time now while the band comes to the stage and prepares for worship. Yeah? Two and then three. Is it coming now? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's all stand together for Put a Little Love in Your Heart. so if the band can exit the stage. And I'd like to invite the Central London Community Choir to the stage.
Hello.
Today we offer when we invite people the Lord. So anybody can join actually, even old, young, even baby, really welcome.
Self
so much. Please rise to recite our family pledge number 1. So, family pledge number 1. Our family, the owner of Chanelguk, pledges to seek our original homeland and build the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven, the original ideal of creation by centering on true love. Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Parent, thank you for this beautiful new day in October, and we're gathered here together this morning. And we really pray for your Spirit to fill this room and to fill each one of our lives and the lives of our families and this beautiful, diverse community that we have here in central London, in the heart of London. And we really pray for all of our families, and especially those who can't be here because of health reasons. And we pray that you can really speak through our sermon giver, Matthew Hewish, today, and really fill him with power and your love, and really bestow your blessings upon us this morning. And we really thank you for this beautiful life that you've given us. So we pray these things in our names. It's the names of our community, and my name, Chris Maloney of a Blessed Central Couple, Aju. Okay, thank you. So please take a seat. Good. Okay, so we have the service notices. They should be spread out on your seats. So they have, certain dates to keep out for. A new one that is new this week is that we have a prayer course running on Tuesday at 6:30 in the cafe, and we had our first session last Tuesday, and if you are interested in attending that with us, you're welcome. This prayer course is basically a small group, and we're gathered as service leaders, MCs, to raise our spiritual health, and also we will also be going through some practical points that we can better equip ourselves to serve our community. So if that sounds like something that you'd like to be part of, you're very welcome, and you can contact me. Also, there is a laptop outside, and there was one last week as well. We'd like to really update all of your information, that we have the most recent phone numbers and email address. Those are the most important, just so that we can really stay in touch. And there's a few other questions there. If you don't feel comfortable answering them, you don't have to. There's an option I'd rather not say. All the information that you disclose is kept safe. So if you're a bit of a technophobe, please don't worry about that. We just really like to get your most up-to-date information. So please do that. We'll also try and get the link sent out in the community newsletter this week. It wasn't sent out last week. So hopefully you'll also get the link online, which you can fill out. And hopefully that will reach a lot more people. So you can look at the service notices for all those dates. Is there anything? Oh yeah, I'm just going to invite Emiko-san just to give it an announcement. So.
Hello, everybody. Just I want to mention from Women's Federation Central, and as you know, this coming Wednesday, 6,000 couples anniversary is coming. There will be 33rd year anniversary. So I decided, I was actually preparing from last year, why don't we do that together, sisters, even husband together, why not? So we arranged already Choi Tang's restaurant in Piccadilly Circus, believe, and so forth. And if somebody still want to come to join, 12:30, Piccadilly Circus, this place, I'll send the address if you want to come the day, the place. And also, don't have to be just 6,000, and I also want to invite 75,000 couples. And also, of course, with husband welcome, with bunch of flowers. I never had, actually. Anyway, please come, and we'll have beautiful Chinese restaurant banquet Choi's husband is welcoming all of us. So far just 10 people. So if somebody still want to come, please let me know. And the other thing is, 7th of November, we have a first time speech contest for young women. This one, if you are interested, already we have 5 finalists, very excellent ladies, students coming to speak. Theme is women and their role in society. So that will be in Lancaster Gate, 1:30 in the afternoon, Saturday 7th. So if somebody want to come, admission is free, and anybody can come actually. I don't have to distinguish women to listen. So for your beautiful daughter's future, if you want to listen to those people, one is, I think I heard one second generation participating. So please encourage them. Only 5 finalists will come to speak. So I'm really waiting for this moment to come. And anyway, please come and invite your friends. Basically, that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So that's the end of our announcements, and we're going to continue. I didn't send the kids off. Kids, you're free to go now. Take care. Have a good Sunday school. And I'd like to invite the band up. They're not really kids anymore. Some of them are giants. They're turning into young adults. The last thing before we begin is that our sermon today is from Matthew Hewitt. I know him very well, I'd like to say. I can brag about that. I lived in Lewisham for a couple of years, and every Thursday for about 2 years, I attended a small group in Matthew's home with Natasha once the kids had been swept off to bed. And so he's a brother that I can call a very good friend, and someone I respect very much. So I'm sure everyone here is really looking forward to hearing the message today from him. So let's stand together and sing Grace of the Holy Garden.
Blessing divine,
Please take a seat.
So, good morning, brothers and sisters. I love rugby. Who here loves rugby? Yeah. Singing that song, Give Us Clean Hands, it reminds me of the hooker when they're trying to clean their hands before they throw the ball for the line out. When I was at school, I was part of my my school rugby team. And I really valued my participation in rugby. It was something I prioritized. I would go along on a Tuesday morning and a Thursday morning before school started in order to be with my members of the rugby team, doing weights training, fitness training, basically doing circuit training every Tuesday and Thursday morning. That was before school started. That's how dedicated we were. And every Monday night after school had finished, we would stay behind at school to do more fitness training, running around the playground a dozen times. I remember one time actually feeling quite sick, like I had the flu, and my rugby coach, I told him, look, I don't think I can come to training today. He said, rubbish, come along to the Monday training. And I went, and actually it felt really good afterwards. And of course, on Wednesday afternoons, we would usually play a game. Saturday mornings, we would play a game. And my school, we were quite fortunate. Our school playing fields were right next to the car park of Twickenham Stadium. So it would be really cool. Every Saturday morning, I would basically be playing rugby at Twickenham. Whoa, but not in the stadium, just in our school playing field. And that's dedicated, isn't it? That's almost every day of the week. The only days where I'm not doing any organized rugby training was on Friday and Sunday. But the expectation from the coaches, of course, were that each player would be doing their own individual fitness training. And I remember sometimes going out to the field opposite where my house was to do running training. I can't remember the name of it. Fartlek training, I think it's a Swedish name for a specific kind of training program. I really valued my participation in rugby, and I prioritized it in such a way that it took up a lot of my time during the week. But then I went to university, and my values changed. I still value rugby. I still love watching it. Even if I'm abroad in Helsinki, I'll find someone who's got a connection to the rugby, and we'll watch it together. Or yesterday afternoon, try to get home as quickly as possible to watch the rugby. But when I went to university, I didn't join the university rugby team. I felt like this is a commitment I can no longer make. By this time, I had a wife and a son, and I also had other ambitions. I wanted to start an interfaith society, and I knew that if I joined the university rugby team, I just would not have the time available to do all the other things that I wanted to do. And so I made a very conscientious decision. I'm going to quit playing rugby, as painful as that was. And my value of the game, my love for the game, continues as a very enthusiastic supporter. Just that. Maybe when my son, he's about the right age. We're talking about maybe he can join a rugby club, a local rugby club. He's about the right age to join one. So maybe I will channel my passion and energy into helping him and supporting him. Hopefully become a better rugby player than I ever was. But I really, changed my value system going to university, and I started valuing different things. And it's not just, a hobby that I value, but there are also, certain virtues that we value. I think the word virtue and the word value sometimes can be misinterpreted for each other. In our life, we have certain things that we value, certain things that we even identify as values. These are my values, or these are my core values. But often these values are also virtues. We promote certain virtuous behavior. And so these virtues we try to promote. We try to, promote faithfulness and gratitude and optimism, these kinds of virtues that we want to cultivate in our life to be a good, wholesome person. But often, many of us work for companies or organizations which very clearly articulate what the company's values are. Maybe you work for such a company where, that they actually list maybe 4 or 5 or 6 different values that they want to promote in their company. And so that the management staff, the management team are constantly reminding the employees, these are our values, we're trying to live up to them. And if the managers don't live up to those values, then it creates tension in the working environment because there's hypocrisy right there. But there are some companies who are very effective at actually living out their values. And sometimes consumers of these products or consumers of these services have a certain concept of what a brand delivers, even if they don't actually know what those core values are. So the values are expressed in the way that the company or the organization organizes itself or delivers its product or service. And so the values ought to be communicated not just verbally, but actually experienced. And depending on which company you work for, the values may be different. So I went to a Catholic secondary school, and the values promoted were obviously the dignity of the human life. I suppose one of the values was dressing in a uniform manner. That our school had a uniform. You can't just go to school wearing anything you like. You have to wear the black blazer, the black trousers, the white shirt, and the maroon and blue striped tie. And your hair has to be, neat and tidy. You have to wear nicely polished black shoes. These were all things that the school valued. The school also valued involvement in volunteering in local charity, and so would often organize a school assembly to promote a local charity or give someone an opportunity to talk about their charitable activities. This is something that my school valued, and it was expressed in the way that the school operated. But then you go to, it was different from my primary school, which valued other things. It was different from university, again, which valued different things. So in different seasons of my life, I've noticed that different values were emphasized at different times. And I want to begin by reflecting on that because I want to ask this question of you personally, but especially of we as a community. You are here in this room, either as a long-time member or perhaps as a guest, and what we're trying to do is create a community here. And the question I want to ask is, what does this community value? What do we value? And in asking that question, I'm also asking, what did we used to value? And what do we want to value in the future? Are they the same thing? Are the things that we used to value a few decades ago, are those the same things we want to continue valuing and placing emphasis on? Or is there a fresh opportunity here to actually redefine what we want to value? Basically, what I want to deliver today is a value statement for our UK church community, for our UK Family Federation for World Peace and Unification. I have already spoken about a vision statement. Maybe you saw the video that I recorded for the annual gathering. I've also spoken about the mission statement, which I'm offering, which was recorded for the young adults worship service a few weeks ago. And today I'm going to talk about the vision statement. So perhaps if you're watching this in a recorded version, I hope that we'll be able to put a link over there for the vision statement and a link over there for the mission statement. And so you can click on those links and have a look at those videos first, and then you can watch this video of this message to hear about my ideas of a vision statement. It's not set in stone. In presenting this to you, I'm not saying we can't change this, but it's something which I've been reflecting about. I've been praying about. I've been discussing these ideas with some other brothers and sisters, and so far everyone seems to like these ideas. So it looks like we'll go ahead in promoting them. But I want to create a concise list of values that we as a local community, but also as a national community, in this Family Federation community, values that we can promote, values that we can live by, and really something that we actually value in practice. Do we value these things or not? But I have started by talking about how our values can change, because some of the values I'm going to talk about, I believe we did not used to value so highly. And to maybe put things into perspective, I want to quickly remind you of the story of Abraham when he offered his son Isaac. God blessed Abraham and said, I'm going to bless you abundantly. You will be the father of numerous descendants who you can't even number. Try counting the stars. Your descendants will be just as numerous as the stars in the sky. But the problem was Abraham didn't have any children, so it was a bit difficult for Abraham to believe in this promise from God that he will have many descendants. And so eventually, through a miraculous visit of some angels visiting Abraham and his old wife, Sarah, eventually she became pregnant and they gave birth to this son, Isaac, this blessing from God. So finally, there was a way for God to actually bless Abraham through his son, Isaac. But then one day, God asked Abraham to offer his son Isaac as an offering, to kill his son, his only son, the only son through whom Abraham could have thought, hang on, if I kill my son Isaac, how is God's promise going to be fulfilled? How is God going to bless me abundantly with numerous descendants and everything? How is this going to work? But instead of valuing human life, instead of valuing his descendants, what God was doing here was asking Abraham to value his relationship with God. And so Abraham had to do something quite irrational, quite paradoxical perhaps to our contemporary ethics or even the ethics of the time, and demonstrate his loyalty and love for God. Once that loyalty and love had been demonstrated, then the angel intervened and prevented Abraham from murdering his son. But God needed to see that determination and that devotion was present in the heart of Abraham. What God wanted to see valued in Abraham was his absolute obedience to this call from God. That's what God wanted Abraham to value. Once that had been valued, then Abraham could pursue the original plan, the original vision. Also, in line with this idea of changing values, I want to reflect on the mission of Jesus Christ, who was pursuing a goal, pursuing an ideal, the whole restoration of humankind and creation. Jesus Christ came to this earth as a Messiah, as a Savior, to save all humankind, to restore the world, to restore even the true family, we understand. But did Jesus get a chance to do that? Of course, Jesus was aware of how the true family, the ideal family, was God's ideal. Jesus knew that God valued it, but because of circumstances, that goal had to be put to one side. And Jesus had to value something else. Put value on his own sacrifice, which seems paradoxical. How does being executed promote the value of the restoration of the cosmos? Logically, it does not make sense. But of course, we understand something about how through that offering, a realm of grace could be opened up. And indeed, the history since then has been indeed God's work to prepare the way for that ultimate goal to be realized. But at that moment, what was valued originally, the ideal of the true family and the restoration of all humankind had to be put to one side in order to value something else, something which was more urgent. And so the point I'm trying to make in this little introduction is that values change. The values of what was, what's known in public as the Unification Church, officially the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity, the values that this community promoted were somewhat different, I would say, to the values that we're trying to promote now. Not to say that we should wholesale change our values, that what was valuable once is no longer valuable. I'm not saying that. And in presenting a value statement today, I'm not saying these are the only things which are valuable. There are many virtues which are valuable, but I want to highlight today 4 of them in order to place emphasis on a direction that I would like to see our Family Federation community going in. Because we are on a journey, migrating from one state of being, which one could crudely maybe describe as a very military or wilderness type era state of being, where the key objective was survival. We are trying to survive as a community in the context of potential World War III, a potential ideological struggle which, if not resolved, could lead literally to the obliteration of all humankind on the face of the earth. And so there was this very urgent, I would even describe it as military warrior style behavior in what was our church community, in order to maintain a certain protection for what God was doing during that time. But that victory was won, I think. And so the era has changed. We hear this frequently, communicated especially from our founders, Father and Mother Moon, but also our international leadership talks about how we're in a changing era. And so as the era changes, I think what we value should also change. Not to reject what was done in the past. It should be valued. It should be appreciated. I personally wish to express immense gratitude for the elder generation who were able to maintain such a standard and live such a life in order to create the foundation that a younger generation is now able to inherit today. But as we move forward, I feel it is necessary that we adapt. God, throughout history, was always adapting according to the circumstances. When unitary monarchy wasn't working, God separated nations and divided them into separate states, or when monarchy or totalitarianism wasn't working, God promoted democracy. And so constantly God is changing the circumstances to promote the providence in different ways. We're now entering a new era, and so I feel like we need to focus on a different way of operating, which will be uncomfortable for a lot of us, I anticipate. And we need to have patience. We need to have support for each other as we migrate from this kind of wilderness mentality, survival mentality, into a settlement mentality, where we're actually trying to build Chonilguk. We're trying to build this community, this kingdom of heaven that can be a reality in our homes and in our places of work, in our culture. We're actually building heaven, not just fighting in a war. I believe that war is now over. Instead, now we just need to build Chonilguk. And so I want to reflect on what things we're going to value. Yes, so here's the question. What do we value? And to begin with, just as the previous vision statement and mission statement used some alliteration to help communicate the points, this value statement will also have some alliteration. All 4 of the values I want to promote begin with the letter F. So the first value that I want to promote is the family. I want us to be family-oriented. And please read this together with me. God's ideal of creation is to build God-centered true families. The goal of his salvation providence is to restore the ideal of the true family. That's from Peace Message number 16. two very interesting things about this quotation here. The first is they both to do with timing. They talk, both sentences say that the ideal of the true family was something that God originally wanted to establish, and it's also the goal of restorational history. Both the same thing. The original goal was the true family. The goal of restorational history is also the true family. So, as the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification enters a new era of Cheonilguk, as we're trying to establish ourselves and build God's kingdom as a reality, we need to be incredibly family-oriented. I want to value the family. I'm aware that in the past, maybe this value wasn't prioritized as highly as other values. And I've mentioned the story of Abraham and Isaac to kind of illustrate that kind of point. That the timing of things matters. And in the past, perhaps, our families were sacrificed. And I use that in the original meaning of the word. Made holy by being offered for the sake of a greater purpose. And unfortunately, there were some negative consequences to that. Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't really invest in our families as much as perhaps many of us wanted to. Many of our families have suffered a great deal through the past decades. And I'm not saying that was necessarily wrong. It was a necessary thing for our community to go through, to be able to respond to the providential urgencies at that time. And if any of you have suffered in your heart as a result of the sacrifices that you felt compelled to make, then I want to say thank you for your offering. Thank you for your sacrifice. Today, however, I feel like we're in a new era. And actually, we can focus on building our families. We're allowed to focus on being family-oriented. We recite a family pledge. We no longer recite an individual my pledge, but we recite a family pledge that we recite together, that we cannot be the owners of Cheonilguk without our family, because that pledge recites our family, the owner of Cheonilguk. Not just myself as an individual, but it's as a family that we own Cheonilguk. And so I want to make a difference between sacrifice and neglect. Yes, still sacrifice will be needed in some ways. The family should live for the sake of the community. The community should live for the sake of the nation, and the nation should live for the sake of the world. But we should not neglect the lower levels for the sake of the greater level. That's not what sacrifice is. Sacrifice makes it holy. When the whole family as a unit decides together, collectively, we're going to go through something more difficult for the sake of the greater good. But you cannot neglect your community for the sake of the greater good. It doesn't work that way. God works in concentric circles that begin right at the individual level between the mind and the body, and then outwards between the relationships in the family, and beyond that into the relationships into the tribe, into the community, the nation, and the world. You can't skip a step in that process, I feel. We can't skip the family level messiahship and try to pursue tribal level messiahship, because we've missed the key foundation stone of tribal messiahship, which is establishing a successful family. So it's God's original goal. It's still our goal to establish these true families. So I feel we're in a period of grace. Actually, this era we're in now is an era of grace where we can focus on building beautiful, happy families. And I can see the merit of the age working spiritually behind the scenes, that many religious communities now are focusing a lot more on the family, aren't they? Perhaps religious communities that didn't used to value the family so highly, but now are. Which I think is ironic. It's great. I love the fact that there are religious communities now championing the family. But I wonder, shouldn't the Family Federation, which has that word family in its name, should not the Family Federation be the vehicle which champions family in this country the most? Shouldn't it? Let's value the family, and also let's have a very clear definition of what the family is. Let's because in being family oriented, what we're saying is that God has a picture of what the ideal looks like. There's the God-centered family. It says there, God-centered families. If we want our families to be God-centered, they have to apply certain principles to themselves. And so we're promoting a standard. We're not attacking anything else. We're not trying to put down or persecute or discriminate. What we're trying to do is elevate a standard and say, look, we are family-oriented. Our community values the family. We try to elevate and promote the family. And it's nice to see that we have a Sunday school here in this community so that the children here don't feel left out. And I believe downstairs in the cafe as well, if there are any little children, that they can be looked after there. That's fantastic. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, to put these values into practice. Because many times when a VIP, a big up leader from our church community, comes to London to give a talk, the memo goes out, children under the age of 12 are not allowed to attend, which means that one of the parents has to stay behind at home to look after the children, right? That's not family-oriented, in my opinion. I'd like to change that. I'd like to make all of our events family-friendly. I'd like to make all of our campaigns and education and worship event, everything needs to be family-oriented, because we don't exist in isolation as individuals. We exist in families. I want this community to be a place where families feel supported, where families feel nourished, where they feel important, that we're not neglecting the family, but we're actually investing in and supporting the family. And we're trying to encourage others. We should be encouraging others also to create beautiful families. I feel like this country is in a state of crisis. I'm not reflecting on our church community now. I'm just reflecting on this nation of Great Britain, of the United Kingdom. It's at a crisis point in terms of the family. Almost, I think, is it half of all 16-year-olds have parents who don't live with each other? Yeah, whether those parents were originally married and got divorced, or they never were married, they were simply cohabiting, and they're now not living together. Half of all 16-year-olds today don't live with both their mother and father. I don't want to really go into that, but I think that statistic alone illustrates the crisis of family that this nation is in. And I want the Family Federation to be the community that champions the family and supports the healing of this nation so that it can also enjoy the blessing of living in a blessed family, God-centered, blessed families. So that's the first letter F, family-oriented. That's a value I want to promote. The next value I want to promote is interesting, because it can be misunderstood, and I want to introduce this carefully. And in introducing this, I want to present two extreme scenarios, both of which have their limitations. The first scenario is this feeling in our community sometimes that no one lets us to do things the way we want to do them. Yeah? Have you ever had an idea for a project or an activity, and you shared this idea with somebody else, and they said, sorry, you can't do that? Yeah, no one had that experience? Or some heads are quietly nodding there. Or have you experienced that you've tried to develop a project, but some person keeps interfering? Maybe they're micromanaging you, and they don't allow you to have any decision-making capabilities. That effectively some leader or some other person is overbearing in their involvement in your project, and you feel like, well, what's the point of me being involved in this project because I'm not trusted to actually make it work? That maybe there's deep suspicion in the community. Oh, that's that weird project. I don't think it's actually part of our community, so it's evil. We shouldn't support it because it's satanic. It's not endorsed by true parents. True parents never said we should do this, so we shouldn't do it. I'm exaggerating, of course, but maybe some of you had these kinds of experiences, yeah? Whereby we're not given the freedom to try new things and to have a go at developing them. But then there's the opposite side of the spectrum, whereby maybe sometimes too much freedom or too much liberty is given to people. And actually they spend a lot of money and they spend a lot of time getting very little done. Yeah, are you aware of this problem? Where an awful lot of resources can be poured into some project or an idea, but actually the fruits are very limited. I hesitate to cite examples without offending anybody, but certainly in my experience, there have been even recently projects, and I look at them and I think, what is the point of this? Why are these amazing promotional videos being created to create hype that has no substance? I don't understand this. We could be investing our time and money and effort into much more meaningful things. And so the other value I want to promote, which somehow rests in between those two extremes, is the value of freedom. So let's read this together. Freedom cannot exist outside the principle. Freedom is accompanied by the responsibility laid out in the principle. And freedom pursues accomplishments that bring joy to God. In our Family Federation community, we have a very clear definition of what freedom is. And it has these three attributes. Freedom exists within the realm of the principle. Freedom exists when people take responsibility. And freedom exists when there are results that bring joy to God. Three ingredients to make freedom. Sometimes we do things outside the realm of the principle, and that's why our freedom can be dangerous. Sometimes we don't take responsibility, and that's also dangerous. But ultimately, we need to be creating results that bring joy to God. Otherwise, what is the point of having this freedom? We can't just give license to people to do whatever they want if there are no results, especially results that bring joy to God. So when we're pursuing our freedom, when I communicate the value freedom, you should think of these three things. We should be thinking, is my freedom principled? Am I taking responsibility for my freedom? That's it's easy for somebody to come to a meeting and say, I think we should do this. And then I would respond, that's a great idea. What are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm telling you so that you can do something about it. That's not how responsibility works. One must take responsibility for, the idea or the project. Otherwise, no principled results will come about. Yeah. So I want to encourage us to reflect in a principled way, which means we need to understand the principle. We need to be doing our hundoke. We need to be studying. We need to be educating ourselves. We need to understand God's perspective, and then apply that perspective to all number of creative ideas. And I want to create a community in this nation where loads of crazy ideas are being tried out. Really, I do. I want crazy ideas to be experimented with. But please don't be offended if 6 months or 12 months later I say, you're not bringing any results. I want to shut this project down. Because I want to create an environment where we can try new things, but also have the maturity to recognize when those new things actually don't bring any benefit. Conversely, I believe that if we create a culture of freedom, where we value freedom in our communities, many exciting creative ideas will be tried out, and many of them will actually bring unexpected great results. So I want you to reflect in a principled way, what can you do that's exciting and interesting? And I want you as a community to tolerate each other's crazy ideas and support each other's crazy ideas and help each other to bring results, but also have the maturity to recognize when there are no results coming and it's time to change strategy, time to change tactics. So that's the kind of, that's my explanation of this value. That the word freedom can be misunderstood, but when we promote freedom in this principled way, based on our principled understanding and definition of freedom, I feel it can be incredibly liberating, but also it can yield great results. True freedom will bring great results, not just for our community, but for this nation. Incidentally, if you want to study in the best universities in the world, where are the best universities in the world according to most league tables? They're either in the USA or in the UK, which, part of this cultural sphere that really promotes freedom. Whereas in other universities around the world, they may provide very diligent education, but they don't promote research or novel creativity. And what makes the British and American universities so innovative is this culture of freedom that tries new things. And that's why so many Nobel laureates come from these two countries, because they promote freedom to experiment and try new ideas. So the results will come. I believe the results will come, which requires a little bit of faith, doesn't it? We need to believe in each other. We need to believe in the principle and stop rigidly adhering to old ways of doing things because that's the way we've always done it. Let's try something radically different. The word radical means root. Radish, it's a root, yeah? Same meaning. When you're eating a radish, you're eating a root. And that word radical, which comes from the same word as radish, being radical means rooted. Let's try radical things rooted in our faith with conviction that, these beliefs will actually bring results. So that's the value of freedom that I want to promote. The next value I want to promote, again, beginning with the letter F, is fitness. Please read this with me. According to the principle, a completely mature person must be healthy, united in mind and body, and in harmony with God's heart and absolute value. No matter how strong your spirit, if your body is not healthy, you cannot be a sound person. Conversely, no matter how strong your body is, if your spirit is not correct, you cannot embody a completely mature person. That's from the 2014 edition of the Cheonsongyeon. I want to promote fitness at every level. Mental fitness, physical fitness, relational fitness, financial fitness. I want us to be healthy and wealthy. Yeah? And many times in the past, I think we prioritized other values and would sacrifice our fitness for the sake of something else. And like I said earlier, there was a time where perhaps that was necessary. But the times have changed. We're in a different era now. As we're in this settlement age, let's promote fitness. I once suffered acute depression. And so my mental health is something that I want to be aware of. And I want our community to also be aware of each other's mental health. How can we support each other in being mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, psychologically fit? Let's reflect on this. How can we improve? How can we also be physically more healthy? I could stand to lose a bit of weight. I could stand to be a lot more fit. I'm not, like I said at the beginning, I'm not doing rugby training 5 times a week. I'm doing virtually no training. The only training I'm doing is lifting up babies and carrying them around the house. I'll be very honest with you, my lower back is feeling in need of urgent exercising or something. So I need to get fit because I'm only 32. Yeah? And sometimes I feel like an old person, but my wife keeps reminding me, no, you're young. You got many years left ahead of you. So this vehicle, this physical body that I have is precious. And True Father here is telling me that actually I can't be a mature person if my body's not working properly. My mind and body unity is ineffective when the body's malfunctioning. I need to focus on my physical health and fitness. And so I want us to promote fitness in our community. I know many brothers and sisters, they like to promote certain diets, perhaps, or certain exercise regimes. And I'm inspired to see some of the stories of brothers and sisters in our community who do really athletic things. Maybe a brother, recently completed the Ironman trials. Like, wow, that's so cool. I'm inspired to do something similar myself. Maybe. At least, improve where I am at the moment. Even if I get halfway better, that would be a vast improvement. But also, not just individually I want to promote this value of fitness, but as a community, that we hold each other accountable. If you notice that someone's family could be fitter in their relational health, kindly, carefully, sensitively let them know, we're concerned about the fitness of your family. We believe you should invest more time in supporting the relationships with your child or with your spouse, which goes back to being family-oriented. But yeah, let's not allow ourselves to become mentally sick. How many of us experience high levels of anxiety or stress or worry? And these are not just psychological problems, they manifest themselves physically. As cortisol is running through our veins constantly, it affects our physical health too. So we need to make sure that we are fit holistically, total whole fitness. So I want to value that. I want to promote it. I want this community to promote the value of fitness and raise a red flag when you see someone doing something which may be unfit. Yeah. In the past, maybe we had crazy schedules and people neglected their sleep. I'm guilty of that quite often. I will spend all of Saturday night, well into Sunday morning, doing stuff. It comes to 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, children start waking up. Okay, new day's begun, and I didn't sleep last night. Oh dear. I could do that maybe for 2-3 days, something like that, but eventually I would grind to a halt, and that's not really living for the greater good, is it? True Father here is talking about a healthy mind and a healthy body resonating with what? With God. That's also part of fitness, spiritual fitness. Are we spiritually fit? Because you can have a really clear mind and a really strong body, but if they're united centering on something which is not God, they become a powerful tool for evil. And you can see some incredibly motivated, disciplined people who pursue their goals, which yield terrible results. So we also need to focus on our spiritual fitness. Are we doing the spiritual exercises, prayer and study, and all the other spiritual exercises that we can do to offer devotion and connect with God? I want to promote fitness in its holistic sense. The final value which I want to offer to you is fun. Read this together with me. Your life of faith should be fun. Also, all the work you do on the way of God's will should be enjoyable to you. It is no good to do things reluctantly or unwillingly. No matter how difficult, you should not take it as difficult, but rather as something fun to do. Again, from the 2014 edition of the Cheonsongkyong. What I'm saying is not that we should just play video games and what do sisters do to have? They also play video games, actually, don't they? We shouldn't just pursue leisure at the expense of everything else. No, that's not what I'm saying. We shouldn't just live lives of carefree fun. That's not what I'm saying. What is True Father here saying? Even if the situation is difficult, you should not perceive it as difficult. It's about changing our frame of mind. It's about changing our perspective on the situation. I'm not saying we should just go and, be irresponsible and pursue fun things, go gambling or whatever. But we should have a fun attitude about the serious things we're doing. Because it's a bit depressing when you're trying to do something really important and everybody around you has this kind of really serious look on their face. How are you doing today? How's your relationship with God? Well, you look like you're really filled with God's Spirit there. I mean, seriously. Of course we should vibrate with God's vibration. We should be sensitive to the heart of God. And sometimes God, when we connect with God, we will want to cry, and that's good. That's
in fact important in our lives. And sometimes we'll feel really determined. But God also has this heart of fun. God wants to experience joy. We want freedom so that we can create results that bring joy to God. We live a life which has the purpose of returning joy to God. We can't return joy if we don't have fun in our hearts. Why can't indemnity be fun? Yeah? Why can't we celebrate and make a celebration and a glorification of the amazing things that we're doing and really have this enjoyable attitude? Yes, it's bloody hard work, but I'm going to do it with a joyful spirit. And even if I'm feeling difficult inside, I'm going to smile to people on the outside. True Father had to teach himself how to smile. You've heard this story maybe, that he was so overwhelmed with the heartbreak of God that he would cry and cry and cry. He had to train himself how to smile so that when he meets people, he doesn't look miserable all the time, but he actually smiles to people. Do we smile to each other? Are we happy to see each other? You know, is the band up here, are they smiling, radiating the joy? I'll be very honest with you, I didn't see too many smiles. Chris, you've got some work to do there. Sorry, no offense, but let's show that we're actually enjoying what we're doing, so that when people come here to 43 Lancaster Gate, or when they visit your homes, they are overwhelmed with your sense of positivity and enthusiasm and hope that no matter how dire the circumstances might be, you are able to make people uplifted, to make them feel like, I want to hang out here because it's actually quite fun. And we can even offer a bit of carrot as well as stick. You know, recently it wasn't recently. It was about 2 years ago when I started a study group in my home, a home group. Chris mentioned how when we were living in Lewisham together, we were studying the Divine Principle every week, frequently. And I wanted to do something similar about 2 years ago with some of the young men in my community. And I realized that if I promoted hundoke to them, if I promoted scripture study, they probably wouldn't be so interested. So I decided to market it in a different way. I said, please come to my house and we'll play poker together. So they come to my house and we play poker together. But of course, before the poker, we always do a little bit of hundoke, we have a bit of discussion, and then we play the game. And we didn't just play poker, we played other things as well. You know, play these kind of games, role-play games and things like that. It sometimes got quite boisterous and noisy. But as the weeks went by, the lads fell in love with the hundoke. I kid you not, yeah? It was like they wanted to discuss the scripture we were reading, and we would run out of time. There would be no time left to play games afterwards, but it didn't matter. The lads were like, it's cool, we've had a great time. This was the highlight of my week, because I love this community that we're a part of. I love having fun with you guys, and even having really intense discussions about serious topics for us could be fun. And I didn't even have to be there. There were some weeks, in fact, nowadays, it's many weeks where I'm not available to join that young men's home group. And they organize themselves without me. They make sure that there's some scripture to study and that there's some discussion. And then they always have a bit of fun afterwards too. But for me, it was so inspiring to see that actually by creating a little bit of fun in the way that we do things, created a really attractive environment that people wanted to be a part of. And they actually fell in love with the discussion. They fell in love with the hundoke. We can fall in love with God if we're having fun doing it. If we're doing it in a reluctant way, as True Father says. There's no point doing it. He doesn't want us to pursue the providence reluctantly. True Father would like us to do it joyfully, willingly, with fun. So I want to encourage this value of fun, that we as a community think, how can we do things in a fun way? So to summarize, these are the 4 values of the value statement that I want to promote for our community here in the UK. Family-oriented, freedom, fitness, and fun. It should be helpful to remember because they all begin with the letter F. But again, I want to reiterate, these are not the only things which are valuable. Other things are also valuable, but I really want to emphasize these 4 in particular. Because I feel like maybe these were not valued before as much, perhaps even neglected. But in the kind of community that I would like to create over the next 5 years especially, I'd like us to be known for these 4 things. So that if people meet the Family Federation for the first time, or if they've had some limited experience with the Family Federation, they might not know much about our belief system. They might not know much about the divine principle. They might not know anything about who Father and Mother Moon are, but they know that this is a community that's family-oriented. This is a community that promotes freedom. It's a community that encourages fitness, and it's a community that knows how to have fun. And I think if we can exhibit those 4 values in our behavior, we will be very attractive to a lot of people. And they will want to buy into our value system. They will want to become a part of this community and contribute to the value adding to this nation. Because I feel that this nation urgently needs all 4 of these things too, to learn how to do things properly. So we as a community have an incredible opportunity. Yeah, your community is undergoing transformation right now. You're, of course, in tragic circumstances, having to lose your pastor couple and have the opportunity of finding a new pastor. That presents opportunities. You can think about what kind of community do we want to create in 2016? What kind of community would you like to create by 2020? Or even beyond that, in the decades afterwards, what kind of community do you want to create? I suggest, and you don't have to agree with me, I welcome your feedback, I welcome your criticism, but I want to suggest that we promote these 4 values in our community. And we try to make these not just some things we talk about, but something we do. That everything that our community organizes, our events, our activities, our education, deliver these values of family orientation, freedom, fitness, and fun. Please join me in prayer. Dear God, our Heavenly Parent, ever since the beginning of history, you've been pursuing the ideal of a true family. You had this remarkable vision of experiencing unlimited joy in the context of a family that practices true love. But throughout history, that ideal has not been realized. But you never gave up on that original goal. And you've been working hard, hand in hand with incredible saints throughout history, to recover that original ideal. And today we stand on the foundation created by so many of our ancestors and so many great figures in history. And especially we stand on the foundation bequeathed to us by true parents as the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification. A federation of families who have been given the ownership of creating Chonil Guk, creating your kingdom of heaven. I pray that we can accept this awesome responsibility and privilege. That we can establish ideal families in our homes and also nurture and promote the establishment of ideal families in our community and in this nation. Our community is at an incredible time in history as it migrates from one culture to another, as it metamorphoses from one state of being to another. And of course, there are stresses and tensions in this transition time. And I pray for patience in our community. I pray for understanding. I pray for mutual support, for forgiveness. And also I pray for hope, that as a community we can look towards the future with ambitious faith that we can establish ideal families in our communities. Many of us come from very painful backgrounds even, and maybe even the current circumstances feel quite painful. But we know that healing is possible. We know that transformation is possible as long as we offer the right conditions. Heavenly Parent, I'm offering this value statement to you, that these 4 values of freedom, orientation, family orientation, freedom, fitness, and fun can be something which can be offered to you, which is something you can bless and endorse, but also that I pray that our families and our community here can also believe in it and endorse it. And if you want to change it, dear God, I pray that you will guide us and show us what you want to value urgently in this time. But this is my offering to you. And I pray that you'll accept the effort that has gone into preparing this value statement. I ask that our communities, and with the support of our ancestors in the spirit world, that we can buy into this value statement. And if indeed this is something that you want to bless and support, I pray that not only we can talk about this, but that we can actually embody it. And that will also be our offering to you, our Heavenly Parent, that we can offer to you the value creation of these virtues in our families and in our community. I want to report this prayer now. In my name, Matthew Hewish of the Blessed Central Family. Arju.
Okay, let's continue the prayer that Matthew started. So one of you take some time to reflect in prayer. Pray on the words that Matthew shared, and let's pray to God now.
pray. Dear Heavenly Parents, we are very excited and grateful to be here today, as I personally feel the presence of God and your Spirit and your love. Dearest Heavenly Parents, with hope and vision, we want to move forward to the time that everybody become owner of your kingdom jointly. And we want to do it with excitement, joy, and happiness. Thank you, everything, Heavenly Parents, and Francis that make offering and offer donation. I pray that this financial contribution can be used carefully and for your kingdom's sake. Thank you, everything. Pray and for the man of the class. Thank you, this family. Amen.
Please be seated.
Thank you so much for the message today, Matthew Hewish. Thank you for calling me up on not smiling enough. It's true, it's very important to smile. Thank you for that. Yeah, when someone smiles at me, I just feel happy, so I should do it more. Okay, so just some very quick announcements. So today, starting 3 p.m., not 2 p.m., there is the Way of Tradition meeting in the cafe with Joanna Hartle. That's 3 p.m., not 2. And next week, next afternoon, there'll be the second seminar on counselling with Mr. Hayashi. So please reserve the afternoon, put it in your diary. And for lunch, there's curry rice. And the announcements were prepared once again by David Franklin, who's not with us this morning. He's with Mary, I believe. And it says in red, God bless you and have a good week. Love, David and Mary. And I think that's so sweet. So if you can think of them both this week, they're sending their love to us. So thank you. Have a great week.